Look, do you think this decision by Tory MPs to knock out Kemi Badenoch today could maybe prove a fatal decision for the party at the next election?
I do. She was the only one of those candidates with any fresh, radical, reforming ideas. And boy, this country needs reform. A completely different energy policy, a different attitude towards small and medium-sized businesses and entrepreneurs, genuine deregulation, cutting of bureaucracy, electoral reform, sweeping away a House of Lords that is completely out of date. So much needs to be done. And actually, Kemi Badenoch was prepared to say, let's take on the educational establishment that is poisoning our kids at school and in university and many other areas. She was the insurgent. She's out. We're left with three establishment candidates. Yes, Liz Truss wants to reduce taxes, but frankly, I don't see any other reforming zeal in her or any of the others. It's more of the same. It's taking the Tory party back to its pre-Brexit self. It's making it a party predominantly, I think, of social democracy, not very different to Labour. And I think it's clear now that Truss is going to make the last two, that Truss will win this contest. She's incapable of communicating a message. It's difficult to believe, at least for me, in her real sincerity on this political journey she claims to have been on. I think the Tory party are on for a catastrophic loss at the next election. And I will take issue with Calvin Robinson. He said she's the best of the three. No, she's not. She might just be the least worst. But I don't think any of it... I don't think any of it is very good.
Look, what do you think of my theory, though, Nigel, that Truss may well blossom in the role of Prime Minister in a way that Theresa May never had it in her to do? Because, of course, Thatcher, when she first became Prime Minister, wasn't the Thatcher we came to know. And it was actually the role that enhanced her, because from everything I know about Truss's views, and I speak to people who are very close to her, she is sound on the things that you and I care a lot about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've heard it all before, Dan. I heard it with Theresa May. Don't worry, she voted Remain. It's all going to be fine. Can I remind you, not only did Liz Truss, on the biggest single constitutional question we faced since the war, that's how big Brexit was, not only did she get that wrong, but she voted 3 times for Theresa May's abysmal sellout. If you think that in the space of 18 months, suddenly she's somebody that understands Brexit, gets its passions, gets its emotions, will bring back proper border controls, will stand up to Brussels on the things like Northern Ireland and all the rest of it, I'm sorry, she's an out-and-out careerist. I don't see an ounce of sincerity. And it's very touching, Dan, that you believe in Liz Truss as you believed in Theresa May.
Liz we trust.
I think maybe when you get older, you get a bit more cynical about politics.
Well, no, I fell out of love with Theresa May pretty damn quickly. But I want to keep the faith, Nigel. I mean, look, we're at too important a time in our history, aren't we, to have another lame duck Prime Minister. This is so important. It's so important for the country that Liz Truss succeeds. And I understand your scepticism. Of course I do. But I want her to succeed if she wins. And for me, again, the idea of Sunak being Prime Minister, it is more of the same. There is no change to economic policy. The tax burden remains astronomical. And I think he's essentially a bit of a secret wokester as well.
Look, she may bring down taxes a bit, fine. And, you know, Rishi's put them up to the biggest burden for 70 years. Is she going to leave ECHR and get back control of our borders? I don't think so. Is she going to make us self-sufficient in energy? No, she'll stick to this crackpot net zero agenda. Is she going to reform anything in our broken system? Will she be on the side of the 5.5 million small businesses, small men and women out there, genuine entrepreneurs? She doesn't even understand who they are. No. Yes, a few pence off tax. Basically, you're getting a Social Democrat leader of the Conservative Party in a David Cameron mould. It will be a disaster.
I asked Braverman, by the way, about the ECHR, and she seems pretty assured by Truss that if necessary she will leave. Obviously, Truss also believes in fracking too, but you obviously you don't think she will actually pull the pin.
Look, it's just like the EU debate was years ago. If necessary, we'll consider what options we have to take to deal with the EU. The Tory party only went for Brexit because they were forced into it, frankly, by an insurgent revolution that took place in this country. No, I don't believe she will do any of those things. Dan, if I'm proved wrong, I'll eat my hat, but I just don't believe it.
Mordaunt, Nigel, her campaign has just crashed, hasn't it? Have you been surprised to see that happen? And did you get to know her at all? Because she was obviously pro-Brexit during the referendum.
Yes, she was pro-Brexit during the referendum, and she cuts an attractive figure in some ways until you examine the fact that she wasn't telling the truth about trans issues. We've just lost a big personality prime minister because of his inability to tell the truth. That's why we're in the mess we're in. And when it was exposed that Mordaunt wasn't telling the truth about what she'd said and done over trans issues, that was the end of it. And she's gone from being odds-on favourite this time last week to looking like a rank outsider in the selection tomorrow for the final two. You just have to tell the truth if you want to lead this country, even if some of the things you say are unpalatable. And that's the real lesson from 2022. It's happened to a prime minister, but we should tell our kids and our grandkids, if you get caught doing something wrong, don't lie, hold your hands up, ask for forgiveness, and generally you'll get it. There is a big, long, historical, moral story that comes out of the fall of Johnson. I think there are many in the Conservative Party today regretting that Boris is gone, but he did it to himself.